Heyo, welcome back to Beyond the Diamond. We're your hosts, Colby Rush and Hunter Broadbent. Remember to follow us on Insta at Beyond the Diamond Podcast and Twitter at Beyond the DIA Pod. Let's get right into today's show.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Another great week of college baseball in the books and a great weekend coming up. We have a special treat in store for you today. We are joined by a special guest host, Chris Pollett of Fairfield. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Just get the audience to know you.
Yeah, all right. So I play baseball here at Fairfield University. I'm a senior communications major and looking to have a good time today.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, should be a fun time.
All right, so we have some more turbulence going on in the power rankings. We cannot have a number one stay for more than a few days. Arkansas taking over the number one spot recently in D1 baseball's poll as of March 1st. Vanderbilt coming in at second. I'm not surprised to see Vanderbilt rising. Obviously, Arkansas had a great week, but Vanderbilt is the one I have my eye on. They just keep moving up every week. I believe they started the season at 4, and with their pitching, it's inevitable that they're probably going to be number one at some point soon.
Yeah, no, I'd say, first, Arkansas started the week beating up Texas Tech again. So Texas Tech's had a rough go of it. I know we were projected to play them in the regionals, so not sure that's still going to happen. But and then Vanderbilt, I'd say without the first loss to Georgia State, they'd probably be number one because they would have gone 7 for 7 this week.
I mean, when you got two guys on the mound, big righties throwing upper 90s, 98, 99, hard to touch.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's ridiculous what Tim Corbin has to work with there. And the lineup is always amazing.
Yeah, I know we said last week that's probably the best 1-2 punch he's ever had in his career. And he's had some pretty good 1-2 punches.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely you said about Arkansas, just to get back to them. Texas Tech, they beat up first 2 games. They're 7-0, by the way, as of today. Took down Texas, TCU, and a 4-game sweep of Southern Missouri State. So they're flexing their muscles on everybody. And I believe they started off, around like 10 or something in the power rankings. So they were 2 last week, but 5-0 in the last week, 7-0 overall. It's been a special season so far for Arkansas.
And I believe Texas and TCU were both ranked too, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were. TCU is still at 13.
Yeah. Shout out Ryan Sporting. Those are two big series wins. Texas Tech, like we said, started off at 3, I think, the beginning of the season. Now they're just in a free fall. Don't know when that's going to stop. They're kind of trending in the opposite direction of Arkansas and Vanderbilt. So maybe they can pick it up because they got a good offense. It's really their pitching they need to figure out.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's definitely – pitching is everything, so you got to keep the other team off the board. Ole Miss was at number 1 last week, but they dropped 2 games over the course of the week to UCF. They took 2 out of 3 over the weekend from them. So pretty impressive series from UCF. They're an underrated club, in my opinion. Not currently ranked, but we might see them soon. It's a good job for them to knock Ole Miss down to 4.
Yeah, I think we shouted out that series beforehand. We were saying UCF might have been a dark horse in the AAC. So good for them actually knocking off Ole Miss after they had their run last week. Seems to just be run after run. Who's going to keep up? Who's going to continuously have their run? Seems to be like it's going to be Vanderbilt, but who knows?
Yeah, that's why I use the word turbulence to describe these power rankings. It's just been a different number 1 every week.
Yeah.
So let's break down that Ole Miss UCF series a little bit. In game 1, Ole Miss got off to a nice start with 6-5 win. They tagged Hunter Patterson of UCF for 3 runs on a pair of extra base hits in the second. He got in a groove and finished his day 5 innings, 7 punch outs, and only 3 runs. But ultimately, that was their Achilles heel, was that early falling in the gap there. UCF had a 5th inning. They scored a run on a 2-out double from John Montez, but ultimately UCF in the bottom of, Ole Miss in the bottom of the 9th had a solo shot and got a couple hits, won the game. Game 2, UCF 7-1 win. Big game for AJ Jones on the mound. He tossed 6 innings, struck out 10, only gave up a run. The UCF offense, it was a great day. Ben McCabe was 3 for 4 with a double, home run, 2 ribbies. OCF, or geez, I can't talk today. Ole Miss, their only run was a single in the 8th inning. So just a dominating day for UCF, what you like to see for them. And then, game 3, it was another UCF win. So Ole Miss bounced back. They routed Jackson State 12-1, only a 7-inning game because of these crazy rules we got this year. But not the weekend that Ole Miss was hoping for.
Yeah, Ole Miss got to figure out how to hit the ball a little bit, huh?
Not what you're looking for.
Definitely not. Love to see that out of UCF, though. I mean, definitely a team Ole Miss should be able to beat pretty much every year. But they managed to pull it out this year. Gritty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, McCabe went 3 for 4 in the second game. Also went 1 for 4 with a 3-run shot in the first game. So he had quite the series, I'd say.
Yeah. Let's see, what is UCF's record at the moment?
Well, they're 4-1 in their last 5 against the number 1 ranked team in the country, so that's not bad.
Yeah, I don't know how they're not ranked yet, having done that, but I'd expect to see them up there soon.
And they're going off to play Stenson now. That's a team we know very well.
Yeah, it's always a stingy opponent.
Last year, I think we took 1 out of 3, but they were a good team.
They're big on TikTok.
TikTok is awesome for marketing college baseball, and not enough people appreciate that fact.
It's probably why Carabas couldn't find college baseball till now.
We got a pretty famous TikToker on our campus, so part of the baseball team, Griffin Watson. Shout out him. Look him up.
Yeah, as do we. Reggie Crawford's vlogs are a big hit always. Kieran Devaney, Ryan Hyde are also big on the TikTok game. It's always fun to keep an eye on.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go a little more in depth to that Vanderbilt series now that we've kind of gotten UCF out of the way. You guys want to pick up there?
Yeah, so obviously, like Chris was talking about, we got the 2 big righties, Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker. Went a combined 10 scoreless innings, both throwing 3-hit ball over 5 innings each. I think Leiter gave up 4 walks. Rocker gave up 3 walks. Leiter 7 Ks. Rocker 6 Ks. Leiter, I think, hit 100 twice, if I'm not mistaken. Rocker hit 99. Both were routes of Georgia State to cap off the series win. The offense went off, scoring 17 runs and 12 runs apiece. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, just Leiter having 5 innings pitched, going 7 Ks, basically half of his outs were Ks. So, I mean, that always helps the defense if they have to make less plays. Less room for error, for sure.
Yeah, Colby talked about this in last week's show a little bit, but I think we might be seeing Jack Leiter hopping over Kumar in these draft rankings. I think it's possible we might see him going number 1 if he keeps this up.
Definitely possible, especially if you get Al talking in their ear.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that have been very impressed with, as Colby mentioned, the changes Leiter has made to improve his game, hitting 100. Certainly nothing against Kumar. He's still been amazing, but Leiter has been just that much better so far in this young season.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing I've noticed from all the scouts is Leiter's, he's not tiring out. Like, he's hitting 100 early, but he can still hit 99 late. And obviously he's still on a pitch count limit. That's why he's only going 5 innings. But his legs are double the size. And I noticed that he seems to have better mechanics than Kumar does, which will probably translate better in the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely going to see how Leiter progresses over the season. We know Kumar can do it throughout the full season, but I guess that's the question.
Yeah, definitely. Kumar has that experience with the
Oh, man.
17 strikeout playoff game and all that, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we'll see how Leiter progresses. That will be a big factor to keep an eye on. And while those guys were doing it in game 2, Myles Garrett came in and picked up his first one of his college career. In a 5-4 Vandy win, Carter Young went yard in the 7th inning with a solo home run, and that was enough to propel them to the victory. So good to see some other guys picking up the slack when everybody's focused on the big 2, leading up that rotation.
Yeah, good for him. Love to see the freshmen getting their wins, especially, knowing that he has Kumar and Leiter following him up. Probably eases the stress a little bit, but still, he's still pitching for Vanderbilt. Still, no slouch.
Definitely not. Even just getting your foot in the door, if you don't play one inning there, it's impressive.
Well, you love to see young guys getting their stride, especially he's a freshman. You love to see the young guys getting out there, doing well, boys supporting them.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a pretty special freshman to be able to make an impact on a team like that. So, big tip of the cap to him. So Vandy had a tough stretch there of 7 days with 7 straight games after the weather delayed their first 2 against Wright State last weekend. So they had a few days off with the midweeks, and they will be playing a 3-game series this weekend against Illinois, Chicago. So if they're playing their full potential, probably going to see some more Vandy routes this weekend.
Yeah, and I think they got the freshmen and then the 2 righties going.
Yeah.
So big series.
Another team that is always high in the power rankings, UCLA, came in the season at 2. We did a fair bit of roasting of them last week's episode, especially in the descriptions Kobe wrote in the bio of them sucking. But they had a nice week. Took 2 out of 3 against UC Irvine, and on Tuesday had a 14-1 rout of Cal State Fullerton. So maybe we are seeing the true UCLA bounce back after dropping 2 out of 3 to San Fran to open the season.
Yeah, I mean, they went 4-1. They didn't go 5-0 though, so still can't give them all the credit.
Well, that's why you're seeing them at 8 and no higher than that, but they'll be falling if they keep this up. I mean, you would expect them to, a team with that potential, to be sweeping these series, but again, it's still early in the season, so plenty can happen.
Yeah, no
Easily.
doubt. So now into what was probably, besides Vandy's 2 pitchers, the pitching matchup of the weekend. Game 1 of which ended up being game 3, I believe. Or was he? I think it was either game. I think it ended up being game 3 of UNC UVA. Austin Love versus Andrew Abbott. It got postponed because of weather to Sunday. It was supposed to be on Friday. Love's throwing those 6-inning no-hitters. Man, he can't stop it. He wants to throw them for full games, but as soon as it gets to 6 1/3, can't do it.
Can't complain about that though either, right? I mean, comes out, gives you 6 shutout, no hit.
Oh yeah, and he's a guy that maybe not enough people had their eyes on coming into the season. He redshirted in 2018, was big in their bullpen in 2019, but kind of struggled out of the gate. 6.75 ERA through his first few outings in 2020. So he is on the mission to prove something, and damn, he's doing a great job at it so far. He just, those no-hitters out of the gate. Will he finish the job any of these times? But it's been very impressive, and you wonder how much he'll start climbing these draft boards if he can keep this up.
People definitely got their eye on him now. Say that.
Yeah. I think I remember sending you a text that was like, he led the team in saves and wins in 2019 or something. So, he's not coming out of nowhere. He's just not one of the top 5 guys for some reason. But
yeah, exactly. He's, I'm sure, well known in that program, but not the most heralded around the country. But now everybody's getting to know that name for sure.
Yeah, and I begin to wonder if he finally throws that no-hitter, how many, or if that's enough to push him into contention into like that number 3 spot over Vassell with Rocker and Leiter.
Yeah, well, we've seen the effects of some of these great starts have made on these pitchers. Kumar's 17th strikeout game is the most well-known. Had the kid from Duke that threw the no-hitter early on last season, got drafted in the first round. Drawing a blank on his name at this moment, but yeah, you have a big start. Everybody's gonna have their eyes on you.
Yeah.
Bryce Jarvis, that's it.
Yeah, and I'm sure Chris can attest to this. Hitters have much more trouble rising up in any spot just because the sample size is a lot bigger. So it's a lot easier for a pitcher to rise up.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, they have, say 20 starts tops during the course of the year. So they have a lot less opportunities, but if they capitalize on most of those opportunities, it's going to be a lot easier than the daily grind of a hitter.
And then we'll skip over game 2 for a second. Game 3, Mike Vassell for UVA. He's had quite the start to the season. He's a Mass guy, went to one of our rivals, BC High. So, we like him, but we don't like him.
Agreed.
He's the only pitcher in the NCAA with 12-plus innings pitched, which is just over 2 to 3 starts as of now. 0 0 earned runs, I believe. And then 0 walks. It's something like that. Yeah, it's something like that. And maybe 6 or maybe 10 Ks. He's the only pitcher in baseball with that.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a pretty special start to the year. And that's just an awesome rotation that UVA is rolling out there every weekend. I mean, to have a guy like Vassell as your 3 starter, that says a lot. Andrew Abbott, as we talked about in that rotation, had a nice outing. 3 runs over 7 innings, 6 punch outs. Griff McGarry is a very strong number 2. And yeah, Vassell slotting in at 3. That's just dynamite. And it's just like the major leagues. Starting pitching will carry you, as we just talked about with Vandy. So UVA can make a really nice run with these guys if they're all on their game.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's crazy that a guy like Vassell, who could end up being the number 3 pitcher in the country, is the number 3 starter on his own team.
I mean, yeah, out of high school, he was a projected first rounder before the injury. So, yeah, no doubt.
So now UNC, they took 2 out of 3. Back to game 2. McGarry, their number 2, UVA's number 2 starter. He didn't have a bad day. He gave up 2 runs. One of them was earned. He struck out 9 over 5 innings. Great outing. And then he picked off a runner to end his day. So I mean, not bad whatsoever. It's just his counterpart, Mac Carlson, who's a freshman at UNC, went 5 1/3, giving up 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 wild pitch, and 5 Ks. So he didn't give up a run. That's tough to overcome when the other pitcher doesn't give up a run.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you want out of your pitchers. No runs, less hits. 1 walk, 5 Ks. Pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing everybody start to take notice in North Carolina, though. Up to 6-1. They are 25th, just jumping into the rankings after they hadn't been ranked early on. So they're definitely proving something, and that was a really nice series for them against UVA.
Yeah, I'd agree. Seems to be like they're on the back of Love, too. Love seems to be carrying them.
Well, I mean, you have a guy throwing these no-hitters throughout the starts of the games. I think that's safe to say he'll be carrying you.
Fair.
They have to love what they're getting from him.
Yeah, I mean, if he's their number 1, they had to expect it, but I don't think they expected this.
I think I need to resign from this podcast for how bad that pun was, but we'll skip over that. But yeah, no, exactly. You guys are spot on with everything you said there. Another series that we've had our eyes on, BC is really making their mark here. Just took 2 out of 3 against number 11 Duke. They are ranked for the first time since 2016, up to number 22 overall, I believe it is. So it's great representation for Northeast baseball, which, as we've talked about with UConn, it's tough being in the cold, and you guys, Fairfield, obviously, too, being in the cold, not having the advantages these Southern teams have with their warm weather year-round. So really good job by BC so far in this season.
Yeah, and I mean, we played them last year, and they killed us. I think.
We did. Kind of embarrassed us. Wasn't the funnest weekend we've ever had, but we bounced back, and what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so it just shows how good they are. Because we're not. I wouldn't say we're a bad team.
No, far from it. They'll be coming to Elliott Ballpark to play us later in the year, so that should be, if we're playing to our full potential, at least that should be a nice battle of the Titans.
For sure.
Shout out to some of their players, these preseason All-Americans. They're living up to the hype so far. Their shortstop, Cody Morissette, Baseball America, had him as a first-teamer. Sal Frelick in the outfield, and Mason Pelio on the mound. Some guys that have done a really nice job for them so far.
Yeah, for sure. And they got they played yesterday at home, March 3rd, in their nice gold unis. They look nice.
I got to tip my cap. Those are pretty sweet. Taking down Rhode Island 6-4.
Yeah.
It was a good day all around for that team. Joey Ryan getting the win on the mound.
Oh, I'm glad you added Notre Dame to this. I was going to mention them.
Yeah, after they had a COVID cancellation that first weekend, but bounced back in a big way against Wake Forest.
Yeah, Wake Forest isn't too shabby. I know they dropped out of the rankings because of this series, but I've always liked Notre Dame because, I mean, they got those – somehow they got gold helmets for baseball too. Like, I don't know how that doesn't distract the pitcher, but –
gold helmets for everything. They got gold helmets for hockey too.
they're just rich.
They got the plug. They know somebody.
I mean, they are Notre Dame, so I wouldn't expect anything less.
And Jesus in the end zone. Never forget.
Maybe they'll get a touchdown Jesus type statue for center field, like that Marlins sculpture.
Like a guy doing a home run.
I like that.
Like the slide in Milwaukee.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Sliding Jesus in a home.
Marketing.
Like one of the priests from campus just going down it too.
That would be awesome.
Headmaster.
Notre Dame, hit us up. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. I like it.
They got the blue pinstripe stuff.
Yeah. Those were looking fine over the weekend.
Those were good. Speaking of unis, didn't talk about the Veterans Day.
Oh, yeah.
The Vandy were great.
Yeah.
Anyway, awesome. Slick.
Yeah, they were.
How many uniforms they got? They got like 6 uniforms?
They got to have more than that. Kentucky's got more than that.
Every game.
Making UConn feel boring with just the 3. We need to step it up.
I think we have 4.
Yeah, we got 2 reds for some reason.
We got 2 reds. One's a little lighter.
I tried to get us a black. Didn't work.
They don't like black.
They don't like black.
I think
we're not allowed to have black.
Because the club team, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, we got the pretty simple, just navy and gray, and then we broke out the pinstripes against Vandy last year.
You got the cool hat, like the C on the hat, though. I like that the lettering.
Yeah,
that C looks cool.
Hook C, especially the one with the red bill.
Yeah, I want reverse pinstripes, like black with red pinstripes. That's what I want. That'd be sick.
That would be cool. I'd be a fan.
Okay, I like where you're at there.
I still think Vandy's black with the gold pinstripes. That's always been my favorite uniform in baseball.
That looks good.
Those ones that look like prison uniforms a little bit.
Yeah.
Or
UVA with the orange. Those are nice. Classic. Because I like the classic lettering, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't like all these new fonts. Not a fan.
No. Throwbacks are king, just like the powder blues at Ole Miss. Those have got to be my personal favorite unis in college baseball right now.
Oh, yeah.
Anything powder blue. They went viral on TikTok for that too.
Yeah.
Now
No
everyone's
better way to reveal it.
LSU's got those purple ones. Those are nice too.
Oh, that's true.
They're playing Vandy. That should be a good series with their star pitcher going against whoever's the number one for Vandy at the time.
Yeah, Jaden Hill against pretty much any Vanderbilt arm.
It's gonna be rocker or lighter. It's April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's gonna be a good series.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Notre Dame, for getting us started on that uniform debate, by the way. Shout out to you guys again. Their head coach described the ACC schedule this year with so much talent there as basically going through 12 straight super regionals. So taking 2 out of 3 from Wake Forest in the first of those super regionals is a nice job.
Yeah, no, I'd say the ACC, SEC, even the Big East for you guys. Those probably they're the three. Big Ten maybe.
The American's always good too.
Yeah. But definitely the SEC and ACC. That's just a brutal path.
Oh yeah. If you come out of that one with not that much blood on your uniform, then it says a lot about your team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Any conference only games when you have no time to warm up, going right into them, it's tough.
Yeah,
that is tough. I know normally we'd be going on our second weekend. Haven't played one game yet besides against each other.
I know it's crazy to think you guys haven't started. It's the 20th, right? Opening day.
Yeah, that weekend, 21st, I think.
Gotcha. That'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Playing Canisius. Not 100% sure who's on the bump yet, but I think we're going to pull it out. Look for that sweep.
Yeah. Love to hear it.
4 wins, definitely going to be a bit of a grind. 4 games, 2 doubleheaders, definitely be a little bit more of a grind, but
yeah, there's been so much of that early on in the college baseball season just because it's so weird with scheduling. So we've had a lot of those doubleheaders very early on.
Yeah. No, doubleheader is going to suck.
It's going to be a grind for sure.
Get some good content out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's happy. Get some good content, showcase the depth of your team. Win-win.
Yeah.
Nice 30 after 2 o'clock game.
Everyone's going to have to probably step up at some point. COVID, injuries, you never know.
Yeah, we got 22 pitchers. I bet all 22 will be used that first weekend. Especially because half of them are already injured.
Yeah, I would not doubt that all of them would be used.
And then, or if you run into a problem like what you were saying UConn had on, what was that, Friday, where their most reliable guy blew the save.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Let's time for my rampage about the UConn weekend series, I suppose. So down in Southern Miss, first game of the series. So unfortunately, out of the gate, we dropped 2 out of 3, but there were some really tight games, and there were some positive signs from a lot of the guys on our team. Friday night, it was a 5-4 loss. Started off well. It was a very weird play in the first inning with tagging up, and the outfielder, like, we thought he caught the ball. We didn't know what he did. So it was kind of a whole all hell breaking loose. But anyway, some of the positives, first inning there, Pat Winkle had a sac fly. Andy Haig scored. His first game in the lineup, had a nice day with a few hits. 5th inning, Southern Miss scored 3 runs. Chris Winkle almost made an amazing catch, but just couldn't get to it. He made up for it with a great one on Sunday, though. Go check out that highlight on the UConn baseball socials if you haven't yet. Christian Fedko had a solo home run after that. Winkle brothers also. Let me see, what inning was that? It was, I believe, the 3rd. Both of them went yard. It was the first time. They've both been here for a few years. The first time that they've homered in the same game. Just so happened to be in the 3rd inning. So Southern Miss people were probably confused seeing why Winkle was rounding the bases twice. But In the 7th, David Langer, his first game in the lineup as well after not getting in the UVA series, had a double. Chris Winkle with a single, and Andy Haig, sac fly, brought him in. But unfortunately, in the 8th inning, bases got loaded. Caleb Worcester came in. We put a lot of pressure on him coming in with looking for another multi-inning save, and unfortunately gave up a base hit down the first base line, and Southern Miss took the lead, and their closer looked pretty dominant, so that was enough for them.
Tough go when your closer, who's usually your most reliable reliever, can't finish the job, especially because, closers have that different mentality where Chris would know living with one, that they're probably the most hard people on themselves when they do something like that too. So it's tough.
It is true. He is.
Yeah. He bounced back on Sunday with a nice outing, but yeah, I mean, as I said, it was tough coming in with the bases loaded anyway, and Reggie Crawford came so close to getting it, so just snuck down the line, and that was enough for them. Game 2 was another one, 7-6 game, really tight. 4 of our 5 losses have been by 1 run, or no, I'm sorry, 3. 4 of our 5 games have been 1 run. We've only lost 4 on the season. Started off great early on, jumping out to a 3-0 lead. Reggie Crawford, Kyler Fedko, David Langer, all with RBI hits. But Southern Miss, they were hitting pretty well. Was a little bit of a bumpy ride for Joe Simeone. Looked really good in some innings, and then kind of struggled at the end a little bit. Chris Sargent, their first baseman for the Golden Eagles, he had 2 home runs on the day, so that was pretty impressive by him. We battled back in the 8th, made a 1-run game. Pat Winkle had a 2-run single. Reggie Crawford, he's making some noise again, an RBI ground out. But we had the tying run at 3rd and go-ahead run at 2nd, struck out to end the inning, couldn't do anything in the 9th. It was a tough game too because we out-hit them. Left 12 runners on base, that's the problem, but 14 base hits, 3-hit day for Dave Langer. So the bats, even though the situational hitting wasn't the best, they weren't really the problem on the day. It was just another tough outing on the mound, but some positive signs for sure to take out of that game.
Yeah, no, I'd say when you can bounce back like that, especially after a tough loss, you just have to take away the positives after that. You can't look at the negatives.
Yeah, absolutely. And then plenty more positives in the Sunday game. 10-7 win to close out the series. Happy flight home. That's always what you want to see. And our team in practice, I finally got out of my quarantine the other day, so everybody seemed loose, feeling good at practice. So we're looking for a big weekend ahead with some big games coming up. Sunday, Austin Peterson, he was the star of the show. Came in relief last weekend, tossed a few innings out of the pen, but we gave him the start on Sunday, and he proved the coaches right by doing it. Struck out 8 over 6 innings, looked really, really good. Only 2 hits and 1 run. So big tip of the cap to him. New guy coming in, was a transfer, had played at Purdue before. So making a big impact early on. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Reggie Crawford was the star of the show. 2 home runs, career high 6 RBIs. An awesome day for him. And Pat Winkle making noise again, an RBI single in the top of the 6th. That is why he's one of the top ranked catchers in this year's draft class. He is a pretty special player. Southern Miss dropped 5 runs on us heading into the 8th, so it got tight, 7-5 game. But three spot in the bottom of the 8th for us. 2-run single from Eric Stock and a sac fly from Reggie Crawford. Almost hit that 3rd home run of the day, but landed on the warning track. And then, Southern Miss still put up a good fight, but Caleb Worcester came in, got a double play to end the game, bouncing back from Friday's outing. So we ended the weekend well, and we're heading down to a tournament in Conway, South Carolina, where we're taking on Miami of Ohio tomorrow, Davidson on Saturday, and then Sunday and Monday, a little wraparound series for us. Coastal Carolina, always a tough opponent there. So that is the latest from the UConn baseball standpoint.
I like it.
Yeah, sounds glad you're back in practice too, out of the quarantine zone.
Probably the longest 3 weeks of my life. Gotta love these close contacts.
Yeah, that's tough.
But it's something that will be a factor throughout this college baseball season. You know, we saw Notre Dame couldn't even play their first weekend because of it. So just got to make sure everybody's careful. And, you know, as much as the quarantines suck, it is being careful. I never tested positive, which is good, but probably being in the quarantine certainly helped that. So just play it safe. Don't need many cancellations this year. So let's hope that that can be limited as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. So now I'll look ahead. Like you said, UConn, Miami, Ohio. It was in Coastal Carolina, always a big opponent, no matter who's playing them. For us, we got 2 more weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 more weeks. Yeah, 2 more weeks till we start. Got the countdown starting next Wednesday. 10 days from next Wednesday is when.
Right.
So make sure to check out Stags Baseball for the countdown. Got some nice edits coming up.
Very nice. I've been fortunate enough to see a little preview of those, and I'm excited to watch that countdown unfold.
Yeah.
Louisville, Georgia Tech looks like that should be a good game.
Yeah.
We need to spend some more time talking about Louisville next week. I mean, we will after that series, but they're having a nice season sitting there at number 5.
Yeah.
North Carolina, Virginia Tech.
Yep. They're Virginia Tech's allowing fans at home games now. One of my buddies just texted me. He said they're doing a lottery. They're allowing 1,000 students at games, and then you can pay $10 to go to the ACC games, non-ACC games. You can go for free. So that should be a cool environment.
That's pretty nice. I would pay about $700 to get into some of these games. Aside from UConn scrimmages, haven't been to a baseball game since like the summer of 2019, so I'm desperate.
Yeah. Miami, NC State, Miami. Let's see how they can bounce back. Arkansas, see if they can continue their hot streak. BC, Auburn. Auburn was in the top 25 last week, I think. So that should be a good series.
Yeah, they needed to reschedule. Seems like Wake had some COVID problems, so no Wake Forest series for them. But if you can just randomly pick up a series against Auburn, that says a lot about your team.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. UC Santa Barbara, Oregon. That's probably going to be like at 1 a.m. for us. So
Yeah.
So don't even worry about that.
We'll have a nice opportunity to bounce back against Belmont.
BC Wake Forest, that definitely could be a game.
Yeah.
Could also be a complete wash.
And then South Carolina, we haven't really heard much from them. They're playing Mercer. See if they can make any noise.
Yeah. UC Santa Barbara is another team we haven't spent a ton of time on, but they're coming in at number 7 ranked. So definitely keep an eye on them taking on Oregon, who, even though they're not ranked at the moment, always rolls out great sports teams and pretty much anything. So that'll be another one I'll have my eye on.
And then one more, number 16, Virginia. Florida State had the kid who hit 490 basically.
Oh, yeah.
The other day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if he takes Vassal yard, that's going to be a big deal.
That was wild.
Intentional walk. But no, I'm surprised to see Virginia isn't higher at the moment with some of the talent they've taken down so far.
I thought they would have moved up past. Oh, well, I guess they started the season 16, went to 12 after UConn, then went back to 16 after UNC.
Well, yeah, that is true. But that was a tough
I feel
series.
like they have top 10 talent, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it didn't come out of my mouth the right way, that's basically what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I get it. But yeah. So yeah, again, there's a ton of good games, as there are every weekend, but we will be very excited to watch that.
Yeah,
another thing in the college baseball world, Wes Clark, man, he is killing it. The junior catcher for South Carolina, 8 home runs on the year, leading college baseball. So shout out to him for having an insane start.
Love to see that out of somebody coming out hot, ready to go.
Yeah.
So it looks like him and Pat Winkle might be battling for that top catcher spot in the draft because they're both having a nice start to the year, and both got a ton of talent.
Yeah, see who comes out on top. We'll be pulling for your guy.
Yeah, no, he is a great dude, so I'm very excited to see what he can do this year. So unless you guys have anything else in college you'd like to mention, we'll get in a little bit of MLB talk.
I'm all good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so spring training is well underway. So awesome to see the guys back on the field, even if it's, limited fans, no fans. Some fans are better than none, that's for sure. Last year was very weird, but beautiful thing, as we mentioned, with some of these colleges letting them back, see the fans back in the stadiums. Biggest thing I'm taking out, though, is some free agent news from this morning. Jackie Bradley era in Boston is sadly over, but it's very exciting to see him get a contract. He's heading to the Brewers, 2 years, $24 million. Word in the street was he was seeking a 4-year deal. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but still secured a multi-year deal, and Brewers have an awesome defensive outfield with Kane and Yelich around him. You wonder if Ryan Braun is still out there. You wonder if they might bring him back with no DH. It makes it tough. But even as a reserve outfielder guy, it's been very important to that team over the years. Anyway, though, JBJ heading to Milwaukee. What do you guys think about that one?
Yeah, he'll definitely be able to help them there. I mean, like you said, Ryan Braun is there too, so maybe a little battle for that point, but that might light a fire under somebody.
No, I mean, I'm thinking about it from a Red Sox perspective. Who would have thought even, I guess, like a year and a half ago, all three of the Bs would be gone from that outfield. I mean, that was a star-studded outfield, probably the best in the MLB. Now they're all gone.
It's been a little bit of a wake-up call. Like, nothing against the guys here now. There's plenty of talent with the likes of Verdugo and co, but it's just like, wow, that happened fast.
Yeah.
Those guys were on the field in Dodger Stadium just like, less than 2 years or whatever ago, celebrating the World Series, and Benintendi in Kansas City, Mookie in LA, and JBJ in Milwaukee.
Cleared house.
Yeah. And the last to go was JBJ. I would have thought he'd be the first to go, if I'm being honest.
Well, there's been, all that debate over the years of what people think of JBJ. And I was always Team Jackie. He come up with clutch hits plenty, even if he wasn't always the most consistent at the plate. His numbers still look good at the end of the day. He was always there in the big spots. And his defense, it's just hearsay that he's only won a Gold Glove once in his career with what he's provided. Granted, there's been some tough competition with Kiermaier and Pollett in the same division as him for so long, but I don't know how he hasn't won more than just one Gold Glove. Maybe the National League will help.
They need to take into account the ballpark, because he should have more than Kiermaier's probably the best center fielder, but he's playing in a way easier ballpark.
Oh yeah, Fenway is just ridiculous. He navigates that triangle better than anybody. But everybody will be quick to point to defensive metrics, and I don't think that's been taken into account enough, how difficult the ballpark is. And that's why you've seen so much hype about Mookie's defense, because the right field is probably even harder with those wacky dimensions. And he was just amazing at how he played that.
Yeah.
They don't, just like we talked about the eye test when Cash pulled Snell. The analytics don't tell you what an eye test can tell you.
Yep. And that's why
that's where analytics falls short.
That's why we're both such a big proponent of a happy balance between the two of them. Analytics are important, but you can't forget what you're seeing, and you got to find a common ground.
It's true.
Yeah, like there's a situation where maybe you should put down a bunt, but if you're seeing like that pitcher just throwing like a meatball, why are you gonna bunt? Or the opposite.
Tatis agrees.
Or the opposite, like, no, this is the worst situation. You should bunt, but you're like, no, the third baseman's playing in like the outfield. Throw that on the bunt. You're gonna get on base.
Yeah, I feel like David Ortiz could have had 4,000 hits in his career if he did that every time.
It's very
slashing out there. He's done that. I've seen him do it a couple of times, but
yeah, no, he had a few of them for sure. But
he's smart about it.
Yeah. I mean, when you have the power he has, it makes more sense to probably just do your thing.
Oh yeah, hit it right through the ship. Why not?
Yeah,
Hunter Pence was the guy who would just kind of slash it. He would hit the ball off the ground. So different guy.
he's the definition of a slap hitter anyway. I don't even know if he would like technically qualify as that with his stats, but just the way he looks in the box, you can't not.
How he slaps at the ball.
He was just a different type of person.
Yeah.
Like
He's who everyone wanted to be.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Hell of a career. I believe he hung
Yeah,
him up
he
over
looked
the
after
offseason, so shout out to him.
For sure.
Back to spring training a little bit. Yesterday we got I was walking into practice. I checked my phone. I see Ohtani hits it over the batter's eye. I click on the video. It says 468 feet. I go, I didn't see that ball land.
Yeah.
I go, oh, it landed on the highway. I was like, you mean the LA highway or whatever, Florida highway, whatever it is?
I think it might have landed on the LA highway.
Yeah, all the way to LA.
He smoked it.
Yeah. You don't hit a ball dead center and not like that doesn't happen.
No, that's very impressive. And you're just seeing us hit and get better and better the more time he's spent getting accustomed to the major league pitching here. It's funny. He first came out of Japan. I thought that he should just focus on the mound because his stuff was just so wipeout. And I wasn't sure how the hitting would translate because, there's been some exceptions with guys like Ichiro. But we haven't seen a ton of position players come over from Japan and have a great deal of success. Pitchers, we obviously have. There's been a ton of them. So I had thought when I first saw Ohtani that his future was on the mound. And he looked great early on in 2018 before the injury, and the Tommy John has just kind of thrown all that off. But, man, he has proven me wrong hitting. He's had some pretty special seasons and looks to be getting off to a nice start here in spring training.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was going to be a joke that we were going to have a two-way in the MLB, but he kind of showed he can do both sides.
Yeah, I mean, he started his first start in spring training, or I don't even know if it was a start. Maybe it was a bullpen. He hit like 97 or whatever. And if he can throw his split finger for a strike, it's unhittable.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm pretty sure it has like a 100% whiff rate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you think back to 2018 when he was still healthy on the mound, he had that start in Oakland where he took a no-hitter deep and was just looking absolutely ridiculous. So, like you said, he was hitting upper 90s in his bullpens. So, definitely can't discount what he can do on the mound still. Angels have struggled with starting pitching. They did a nice job of addressing it this offseason, but can never have enough of it. And if Shohei can go out there even once every 10 days and take the ball, do his thing, he'll be a big boost.
Yeah, they got to get Trout to the playoffs somehow. Maybe he's the solution.
Yeah, the Japanese Babe Ruth. That's why they don't call him that for no reason.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Another two more bombs this weekend. Wander Franco. That was on what was that? Monday or Tuesday, I think. Number one prospect in baseball. Somehow the Rays, they just have every prospect to ever exist. They can trade away everyone, yet they'll still be one or two in the AL East, and they'll still be in contention. First pitch he sees of spring training, he actually, I'm pretty sure, did hit it on. They looked for it on the roof, and it wasn't there. I think he cleared the roof.
For all the crap we gave the Rays about the Blake Snell trade, they got another prospect too, Luis Patino, who was, I believe, like 15th overall in the MLB last year with San Diego. So he's just adding to their crazy depth. But yeah, Franco, he's number one prospect for a reason. Doing a nice job in spring training. Just turned 20 the other day. They were doing an interview with him. The Sox game was on ESPN playing the Rays. They had some fun mic'd up moments talking to guys like Wander. So you love to see that from a marketing standpoint and from a baseball standpoint.
Yeah, no, the marketing's a big part of it. But then they also overmarket guys like Tatis, great guy. He did hit that bomb with a grand slam. Maybe a little bit overhyped at this point. He has still yet to play a full 162 game season, and they're making him better than Mike Trout somehow.
Well,
I think he is better than Mike Trout.
Padres feel that way too, giving them the bag. Was it like 400 million or something?
Yeah. But yeah, he only gets like 160 million of it.
Yeah, gotta love those taxes out there in San Diego. Yeah, I mean, it's clear he's a special talent, but as you said, we haven't seen it over the long term. So if he can do it throughout the 2021 season, then I'll be a lot more comfortable with placing him as like the king and the best shortstop in the game. But let's just see him repeat 2020 first over the course of 162.
Right. What's the thing? Mike Trout's proven he can go 162 with the numbers he puts up, and it's kind of undisputable at this point.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like Mike Trout said, he had a bad season last year. Came in 5th in the MVP voting. Guy sucks.
Awesome, man.
That honestly, it was his worst season.
Holds himself to a high standard to say that.
Yeah, and you love to see it. I mean, if your worst season is 5th in the MVP voting, I think that does enough to solidify you as one of the all-time greats. So, you know, as we've said before, if he carries it throughout his 30s, Mike Trout is a god.
Damn close.
Nah, you love to see guys who hold themselves like that, though, too. Like, they're not hard on themselves, but they just hold themselves to higher expectations, which makes them do better.
For sure.
Tatis, yeah. I think it's actually a lot similar to Leiter in, like, Leiter, great talent, but we haven't seen him pitch the full season yet. So that's why it's still Rocker above Leiter. But like I said, it could be Leiter above Rocker. I think Tatis could easily become the best player in baseball. And I think making him the cover of MLB The Show when it's coming to Xbox too, great marketing standpoint, but forcing him onto the fans as the face of baseball before he's played the full season is a little tough. Granted, Trout seems to hate marketing and wanting to be the face of baseball. That's a little tough too.
Yeah, it's been nice to see Tatis embrace it. And yeah, I think Trout gets a little bit too much of a hard time, but it's understandable why people feel that way. As you mentioned last week, they dropped his new shoes and nobody even talked about it. So if that was Tatis, I mean, I feel like it would be all over every billboard in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Tatis reminds me of Harper when he was at his peak of hype. Like it was Harper.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't hate it, but like you did hate it at the same time.
Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Made Harper worse, I think, the hype.
Yeah. And I mean, the big contract in Philly, as much as he's tried to embrace that puts the stress on you too.
Oh, sure.
At least with Tatis, he has the comfort of staying in San Diego as opposed to moving from Washington to Philly like Harper did.
Yeah, but sure. I mean, he's still a young guy, and he still had 2 years, I think, of arbitration left. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can just settle down, not think about the money, and stay in his element.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then MLB finally did something good. They were announced this morning, June 2nd is now annual Lou Gehrig Day to raise awareness for ALS, which is a special cause to Hunter and I because one of our favorite human beings and mentors in our lives, our former principal, Brother Ray, died of ALS about 3 years ago. He was principal at Savannah Brothers High School, so anything that brings awareness to ALS is a cause that we will always support.
Absolutely. And we were just talking about BC baseball, a lot of this show, Pete Frady's with the Ice Bucket Challenge, another one close to our hearts. But yeah, Brother Ray was a special man. That was like one of the saddest things we've ever had to go through watching that. But yeah, it's really nice to see MLB raising the support. They've done a good job with supporting it in the past, and now having the annual Lou Gehrig Day will be a really good thing, and hopefully they can raise a lot of money for it. Something we definitely got to take down.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, so that's it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed us recapping some of the best games of the past week and started spring training with special guest host Chris Pollett. On next week's episode, we will continue our college baseball talk and begin to highlight more of spring training as it continues to get more in depth. Again, any questions you guys have, tweet us at Beyond the DIA Pod or DM us on Instagram at Beyond the Diamond Podcast. See you next time on Beyond the Diamond.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Chris, been a pleasure. Thank you again for joining us. And as Colby said, Give us a follow and let us know your thoughts.
Awesome.
Thank you.